All right. We literally just landed in Houston. I haven't even taken the trailers off the trucks, the cars off the trailers, nothing. We literally just got here. So sorry that we're late today, but we wanted to still make sure we did this because we tried to do one before LS Fest and then during LS Fest, but it just wasn't going to happen. A couple things we're going to go over, but giving everybody kind of a little bit of time to get in here, get everything going, whoever's going to come in, and just kind of going through. Yeah. Anyways, basically we're going to recap, LS Fest, the trip, the travel, what we did, some of the stuff we were going for, plans from here, obviously, kind of like what we do normally, do some Q&A at the end. And if you guys have questions on the cars that you did see at LS Fest, this would be the time to ask the questions. If you want to know anything about the systems that they're using, because each car was on a different system, which is unique to this event, I guess. So we can kind of go over the pros, the cons, things like that. This would be the chat for that one. I think we're good for like an hour and a half in here, so we'll see. Yeah, Wendy's not with us right now. We'll say it is my second youngest, second born, Austin. It's his birthday today, so everybody, happy birthday to Austin. He is the big 1-1. So happy birthday, buddy. I don't know if you're watching this or not, but if you are, if not, you should be. Yeah. Wendy got pulled over. If you watched our YouTube or Instagram, I don't know where she posted it, but yeah, she was speeding. She wasn't speeding, but whatever. All right, let me grab my list. Let me look at a small list. Nothing crazy, but like I said, most of this will be kind of people had a lot of questions about the cars, but instead of going through answering every single question, I thought it'd be easier to let you guys ask toward the end of this, and then I'll answer whatever questions you have. All right. So I think we ended up having like 5 or 6 cars at the event. The DA was pretty good when nobody was able to run. The track was pretty decent, not great, but for a big event like that, I wasn't really upset. We got some really good times out of the cars, I feel. They all have a little bit extra left in them, but this was one of the only events that we had a car with the Motec-based FTR. We had a car with Holly. We had a car with the 2 high PSI Reflex, and we had a car with the Atlas. So I was wrong. We actually had 4 different systems all at once at the same track, and each have their own little thing, right? So that's something we'll go over. If you were watching our videos Jesus, with the Diet Coke opening. If you watched our videos with the pre-going to LS Fest, we pretty much had Tim King's car done. We had the FTR on Wayne's car. That was we had it mostly done. Wayne had a couple issues, but he was able to get it kind of together. We had some more issues at the track, but little things that we're going to sort out. It's a big system. It's a complicated setup, but big promise there. We had Max's V3, which has the Atlas on it. We made 1091. We had gotten the Titan's grip, which is their boost controller. Going through like the Tuner Pro setup, because that's how you would adjust that. We'll start with Max's just because we're there. We threw it on the dyno. We'd gotten the Titan's grip thing like the night before and put it on the car, and going through like the XDFs and the things like that, not the XDFs, but the Tuner Pro setup to see how it can control the boost. It shows a lot of promise. I really think it's going to be cool. It's got wheel speed differential, ethanol modifiers. I mean, pretty much modified by whatever the hell you want. And then you can also set that by drive mode. Unfortunately, once we got to the dyno, and it's not super clear why yet. And remember, this is a new product, so I'm sure we were one of the first ones to get one. We had some issues with a delay for the boost to come in. So I tried to work on that. And then we got to a point where I just couldn't get it happy. I couldn't get it to where the boost controller was doing what I was asking it to. And I think there was just some coding stuff on the background that may have had some issues. David told Max something, but it escapes me right now. I can't remember. So we unfortunately ended up depinning that from the Atlas and then just running the bypass valve standard way, right? Putting the vacuum bypass back on. We will revisit that. I'll speak with Max more this week, and then we'll make some posts about it as we go through testing and stuff like that. But we did end up taking that off of the car, so we didn't run that in the event. We put the factory bypass back on. That way we could make whatever boost it was going to make. And again, on a mainline dyno, we ended up making 1,091. We were right around 19 to 20 pounds of boost. I believe the cars are 416. I'd have to go back through my notes. Pretty stout numbers, I think. So anyways, we went to the track knowing that this is his first time ever at a track, I believe. So I didn't really want it to be crazy. So what we did is I kind of set a little bit of throttle delay. That way he can go to the line, stab the gas, and it would ramp the throttle in for him. Typically do things like that to kind of make the experience more enjoyable for the customer, because his goal before was, man, if I could just run a 9.5. And I told him if he runs a 9.5, I'd rather just set the car on fire. So, yeah, we weren't going to do that. I predicted the car should run an 890. So we get out there, we made our first pass. What did we run first pass? 970? Yeah, I think 970 was his first pass. Second pass was we had an issue on the 3-4 shift. So prior to this, he had a converter issue. Neither here nor there why it burned up, but it was swapped out. I think something may have gotten into the valve body from that, possibly. So 3-4 it would command the shift, and 800-ish RPM, it would just bump the limiter and it would make the shift. So we kind of just had to deal with that. So we had the delay off the line, which is just a 1 second delay, but it's still a 1 second throttle delay. The 3-4 bump, we got it reeled in, but then it shifted like 6,400. I think the car went like 9.2 or 9.3 second pass. Maybe 9.4. Either way, Max, if you're in here, you can post on there what it did the second pass. So then I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can get this 1 more mile an hour up, right? Because it short shifted the 3-4 so bad. It bumped the limiter again, but then this time it also messed up the 2-3 shift, and we went a 9.0 at 155, I believe. So do I think that's as fast as the car's got? Absolutely not. Realistically, with that setup, 1,091 horsepower, leaving full throttle, leaving in boost, that car's in that weather, 12 to 1,500 DA, 880s, 890s pretty easily. Good DA, 860s, 870s maybe. Depends if we want to get a little more aggressive with it. So that covers Max's car. The setup on that, like I said, 416, 2650. I think LME did the motor and everything on it. It's got a 10-speed conversion. So all you guys with a V3 that were like, man, I wonder if we could get a 10-speed. Wendy's currently still dying. For all the guys that are thinking, 10-speed on a V3 may not be the move, I assure you it is the move. I'm not saying an 8-speed can't do it, but if you really look out there, how many 8-speeds do you see that even run the 9.0 that we ran in that weather? Again, not saying they're not out there. They're just few and far between. I think the 10-speed is the ticket on that car. I will say the tuning is definitely a lot more picky and a lot more crucial, which brings another point, guys that are going to tune the Atlas. I guess I wasn't ready for it because the way that the Atlas works, it still accounts for the fueling that's going in the motor, right? So your grams per cylinder, typically, we're seeing like 1.5, 1.7 in that power range if you get everything scaled right, because a lot of that gram per cylinder is going in the port injection that the computer doesn't see. So when the computer does see that, we're seeing 2.2, 2.5, 2.6 gram per cylinder. And if you're not used to tuning at that high, not that high, I'm sorry. What I did run into was, and I believe may become a problem, is on that car at 2.2, we were hitting some kind of limiter. So I had to actually rescale to get it under the 2.2 to get the throttle to do what I was asking it to do. So something to think about. If you guys have experienced that, let me know. I know I've been higher than that on a C7, but I've never been higher than that on a V3. So 2.2 grams per cylinder seems like there may be some kind of limiter there. We may need to look into that, but either way, I was able to rescale it, get it all working. Everything was fine. H pattern for the win. No. That was cool in high school, man. But like when you want to go fast, it's really hard to convince anybody that a stick shift's the way to go. It definitely is a funner car, but not the way to go for going really fast. All right. So honorable mention. Our buddy Scott Ridgway was out there with his Caprice, and first pass off the gate was a 990. We had some issues with the converter coming in a little too early, so it kind of bogged the car down a little bit. Once I fixed that, he didn't get to have another pass because we were getting about one pass a day. I don't think anybody got more than two passes in a day, right?
No, I mean, every class is like that too.
Yeah, every class had one pass a day. So we did what we could with what we had, but Scott kicked ass out there, ran a 990, so that was really cool. So Wayne's car, let's go over Wayne's. So Wayne got a new motor built. I think BES did the engine on that car. It's got the Pro Speed FTR, and we brought it over with Delgado. The cam's a little too big, so down low the car doesn't really have a lot of power. We're going to be changing the cam out. I think Rick Crawford got a cam set up for him because basically we were pulling that car to like 82, 8300, and the power was still going straight up. So the cam is just way too big. That aside, we decided to still go make the event. Chris told us that we needed to leave in first gear, which if you deal with this a lot, you know, first gear is like always a no-no. We always just start in second, especially when you're making 4-digit power. So that's where from the Atlas to the Reflex to the Holly to the FTR, that's where I believe is going to set it apart. Something I never thought I would see, and I'll have to get a video. I'll get Wendy to post a video unless Wayne has it. But if you think about it, leaving in first gear doesn't make a lot of sense because you're adding a shift, things like that. But that's because we think of it in terms of the controls that we have, right? Like we're going to adjust boost or we're going to limit throttle or something like that. Motec doesn't see things like that. So the way that the Motec does is you have a power curve, so an RPM curve. So here's your target of I want it to start at this RPM at the line. I want it to go up this curve exactly like this. Do whatever you need to do to stay on this curve. And proceeded to, the car kind of rolled out a little bit, and that was mostly because that cam was so big, there's not enough bottom end. So the RPM we commanded down low, it couldn't hit fast enough. So it made the car kind of roll a little bit, which the cam will fix. But being able to see that the command was here, the engine was here, understanding the level of detail that system was able to show what was going on. And then it proceeded to power wheelie in first gear, which he has a laser and everything on. So we made sure to turn the laser on for the next pass. But unfortunately, after the cool power wheelie, it blew a coil pack fuse. So there's a fuse for each bank, and they're like a three-prong fuse. If you've ever seen that, it's a micro, but it has 3 legs. Anyways, long story short, blew the fuse. We don't know what's causing it. We're gonna figure that out. But to see a 4,000-pound plus car roll out and then power wheelie, and the control that system has, I just don't know how you're gonna beat it. I think there's going to be a few little bugs, some drivability stuff that, you know, working with Delgado, me and him back and forth, I think we'll be able to nail all of that. I know we will. The biggest thing is just that box is so capable. For $7,500, it's crazy that you can have all this control. It's just control on something that it's control at a level that I haven't even seen. And I've used Hollies, I've used standalones before. I'm not new to standalone. Standalone is very simple, but to see the control that box had, the way it controlled the engine and just ramp that power and follows targets. And then if anything's going wrong, we could figure that out. It was next level. So that being said, we had to put a pin on Wayne's car until we can figure out what this coil issue is. I think we're going to go to the smart coils. Outside of that, I just want to say again, power wheelie in first gear at a track that the prep wasn't super great at in a car that heavy is probably one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen to date. So we'll make sure to get that video. So that covers the FTR, that covers the Atlas. Remember, towards the end, you guys can ask questions and I will go through them. So the next car we're going to go was Matt Bennett's. It used to be a guy named Doug's car, one of Tim King's buddies, ZL1 Holly computer. I like the Holly. The downfall, I think, of the Holly is that it doesn't communicate with the CAN bus. So where we have boost by gear, boost by mile an hour, boost by ethanol content, things like that, we have these controls. I'm not saying that you can't add that to the Holly, but you have to externally add that, where the Reflex has it on board through the CAN network. The Atlas is going to have that through the CAN network. The FTR literally has anything you want, including program. You can literally pick a steering wheel button in the car and program it to do whatever you want. So that's the other cool thing about the FTR. I forgot about that. You can literally program through the CAN anything you want. So when we have 10 map switches, he can flip the cruise control map button and it will switch through his maps. So again, for $7,500, I just don't know how you can beat the FTR, other than it's $7,500. So the Holly, while tried and true, I think the Holly has its place. Matt's car did pretty good. I think we did like a 940, and then we tried to put a little sauce to it, and we ended up knocking the tires twice. And the track was kind of going away at that point, so we could only do what we could do with what we had. That car's already been 860s before, so I know there's a lot coming, but we're just kind of wrapping everything, getting everything back together. So Atlas, FTR, Holly, Tim King's car. If you guys seen, the current record right now for a CT5V Blackwing is 9.0. That was done by Brandon Lieb and Josh Langlis. So they have a white one, 15s Blackwing. I think it's like a 416 high compression, nice build, solid build. I'm not sure what the weight on the car was or anything like that, but they went 9.0 with their car. We took Tim's car out there. First few passes were like a 10.7. Super great. But if anybody knows Tim sets a goal. Tim goes for his goal. Don't mind Wendy dying. Tim's goal is 8s on 18s. So it's not only enough that he wants to, go 8s with a 4,500 pound car, because that's what it weighs, because Tim won't pull anything out of the car. I don't blame him. $150,000 car. I like it. That car is equipped with the Reflex. Typically, we hook the Lambda control to the Reflex, but luckily a Blackwing has its own wideband sensor, so that was kind of nice. They are an absolute pain to get dialed in, but we managed it. So it's got everything from LMP. LMP did like the cold air intake, suspension. He did all the suspension stuff in the back, I guess like the control arm stuff, but Tim doesn't want to go 15s, nor did he bring skinnies for the car. So we're on 20-inch fronts, 18s in the back. We go to make a pass, first pass, obviously 10 something, car blows the tires. We go back up, car blows the tires. We're going through the logs, kind of moving fuel from the port, from the direct to the port, just kind of getting everything lined out. This is our first time at the track. We go to dinner that evening. We're kind of discussing some things, and Alec mentions to Tim, he's like, well, why don't we just leave them 5 degrees? It'll leave then. Pretty sure Alec was joking, but we took it serious. I think we ended up leaving on like 10 degrees of timing, and the car hooked. First pass down, I think 940. That's the 940, right, Tim's?
Yeah, Max is 940.
So first pass down, 940s, and then Max did the 930 because he had to one-up them. We go back around, we change some things up on the car, go through the tune-up. This is our first nice pass. We lined up all the shifts. Second pass out, he went 9-1. So as far as leaving them or, concerned, I hope you guys are ready because we are coming. We're not going to go 15s, but we're going to go 8s on 18s. It's going to happen. Tim's going to, he's going to do what Tim does, and he's going to push that car. But what I learned from that platform is, I guess, one, Reflex is the only one that's on that platform currently, so it is your only choice. But two, when I thought, this has been like the best platform since the V2, it solidified it because that car is still stock engine. It's ported stock heads, stage 1 BTR cam, and ported 2650, but it has a 103 throttle body on it still. So I think our next move for that car is the 120 throttle body, a bigger intake, just a couple of refinements in the tuning, and honestly, just trying to get it off the line with more than 10 degrees of timing. I think once we kind of get all that sorted out, the 8s are going to it's going to be there. So I still bow to leaving them for right now, but we're coming. I think that pretty much covers the cars. Other than Lori, who went out there and went to the finals in her pick-em-up truck. So it has the 6L80 still in it, but when she went 940s with her truck, the trans is just not happy, which trucks and 6L80s, it's kind of a thing. But she went rounds and went rounds and went rounds, and I think she dialed into the 10-1 class. So really happy with Lori. She always goes out there and puts on a show. Went to the semifinals, but she went against somebody a C4 that literally is on that number every single time. And I blame Wayne. Wayne put 1 PSI too much out the back and she broke out. So it's Wayne's fault. So anyways, that covers the 4 systems that I think are available today. I think the Holly's still available, but this will be a port injection chat versus how LS Fest went. But Atlas, Reflex, Holly, and FTR. So any questions that you guys have for those, any questions on what may or may not be coming for those, we can go ahead and discuss that. I want a big shout out to Max over here for, I see he donated us, and very, very appreciated, Max. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your project, because I know you had a rough road, but hopefully it's a little more smooth sailing now. But yeah, we've got those 8s in the bag. So pretty sick build. He's also got a C7 that's being built by Houston Performance Solutions, the guys here in Houston. And that car has an FTR for it. So a lot more FTR stuff to come. I've got a lot of customers that have went to the FTR. I'm working with Delgado a lot. He's teaching me on the Motec stuff because it is new, right? It's something that I'm not used to. The biggest thing is really, it's pretty intuitive because you can just go to the search bar and search for whatever you're looking for. But the big thing that I think he may not have understood, and I'm learning, is you have to know what you're searching for. What's it called? And the amount of functions that computer has is mind-blowing. So outside of that, we are finally back in Houston. We're going to stay here until Sunday, and we are officially going home. I haven't been home since March. It is time for me to go home and relax a little bit on the island. Obviously, I'll still be doing my remote tuning stuff, but it's time for me to go take care of my people there. And then we will probably fly into Cadillac Attack because we don't have time to mess with our cars right now. And then we start our trip west coast. We'll be going on our West Coast trip, which we've talked about a million times, but it's coming. I just want to make sure we hit all that before it gets too cold. So outside of that, if you guys have any questions, anything from that, anything from the trip, anything on the systems, now would be your time. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, make sure to move over to Tuned In with JWT on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, donate, whatever, help us help you. We'll keep kind of going through this. All right, am I back? Yep, I'm back.
Before, I don't know. Hold on. You were still there.
Okay, sorry. I clicked a button. So anyways, I'll go through the questions, and whatever you guys have, we'll go ahead and answer and go from there. Yeah. So like I said, on Max's car, out the gate, new to the track, there's no sense in throwing everything that car had off the line and knocking the tires, because the goal is to go rounds. Something I never learned personally with my own cars. I just go swinging for the fence like an idiot. But for customers, I want to make sure they go around. So we did leave that delay in there. There was really no sense in backing the delay out because we already knew we were having some trans issues. And I wanted to make sure that Max had an enjoyable time. So letting it come off the line soft, totally fine. Let's see. Yeah. So Max's times, I mean, think about it. His first time down the track in a car that he's been building for, I don't even know how many months, he'll pop in here and tell us, was a 9.7. You really can't argue with that. I'd be happy with that myself. And then to go from a 9.7 to a 9.3 to a 9.0 and not be able to make another pass shows that we were obviously on a path there.
What was your first time ever?
Hmm?
What was your first time ever down the track?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to know. Yeah.
What was it?
It was the 8th mile at HMP. And it was an 11 in the 8th.
Oh my God.
It's a V6 Camaro
I was right.
manual.
I asked that.
Yeah. What, somebody asked that?
No, I was just
Oh,
curious.
yeah. My first time down the track was at HMP,
Fun fact.
V6 Camaro.
Mine was a 10.6.
I was like, damn, I almost ran a 10. And then I realized that that's fast in the quarter, not the 8th. That's when I went to UTI. Anyways, don't shame me. So C8's not liking over 2.0. They do like over 2.0, but you have to scale it out there. And if you scale it out there, I haven't really seen an issue, but maybe there's something that I haven't seen yet. So I'll definitely look into that. I've been looking for that 2.2 limit, but I just haven't had another car that's had a 2.2 limit that's went that high, because outside of the Atlas, we've never seen those kind of gram per cylinder readings. So that was like a whole new learning, because I was like having to mess with all the torque stuff. I was trying to talk to you at LS Fest, but I couldn't find you. I was trying to see if you could tune my car. Of course I can. Sorry, it was crazy busy. We literally were tuning the cars till what, 1 o'clock? We'd get to the hotel by like.
That's after we got there late, dying.
Yeah, we drove 15 hours straight there and literally went straight to work. So I think we got there like what, 1 o'clock?
Yeah, it was 1:30, 2 o'clock.
1:30, 2 o'clock, worked all the way till like 1 in the morning, went back to the hotel, slept a little bit, ate at this place called what was it?
440 Main.
440 Main. If you're ever in Bowling Green and
Don't
you see
go there.
440 Main,
During all this, it's only for us.
one of the best restaurants I've ever eaten at. It was fantastic. So don't go there. But yeah, I think it's Josue. Either way, shoot me a message, man. We have Justin White. Tune.setmore.com. You can book it there. If you have anything you want to chat about, shoot me a message. So I didn't mean to not speak with you, man. It was crazy.
You tried.
Scott. So Scott's here. Scott is the one that had the Caprice, who was actually on the picture for my post for this. So happy Scott got to go out there and kick some ass. But yeah, the rain kind of ruined it a little bit. It wasn't terrible though. The rain was pretty light, I think.
That one day it rained like the first half of the day.
Yeah, whatever. I wasn't racing. I was glad, except I didn't get to sleep. Talking about cams, finally dropped my car for stage 1 swap. Hopefully no more heat issues. Yeah, I think it's going to make a difference for sure. So we'll see. Tim's car, like I said, the Blackwing had a stage 1 cam. The other car, the white car that Lee and them were working on, is a really large cam. So I guess we'll definitely be able to see. I'm hoping that we can have like a little battle royale of the Blackwings at Cadillac Attack in Ohio. So let's shoot for that. Justin's the GOAT. His track support's amazing and made experience so much more enjoyable. Thank you, man. Hopefully it was. Sorry for being so tired, but I wanted to make sure that I was there, that you guys got to enjoy your time, and that everybody drove their cars back on the trailers, because that's what matters. All right. Even though Tim was trying to get me to not let him drive his back on the trailer. All right, let's see. I also assume the revision on VTR stage 1 should now help a little bit with cylinder pressures. 630 lift now versus, yeah, the lift isn't really the mitigator there, right? That's not what's making the cylinder pressure. It's more moving that power curve down low. The shorter intake, the larger exhaust, that's going to really play with that cylinder pressure a lot and not have the reverb through the exhaust valve, putting that heat back into that blower. If you have Motec questions, let me know. I can ask my guys at AMS Performance. He's got multiple 6-second cars on Motec. Yeah, so I'm trying to listen to everything Delgado has. I've dealt with Delgado since 2013 when I first met him with a 2,000 horse C6 project we had done. So going forward, I want to learn from him. I'll spend as much time as I need to, but I definitely see a lot of promise in this. I think the FTR is going to be really cool. I know it's a little out of price range, but honestly, it's not really that much more. And for the control and the safety that you get, it's unbelievable. But it's definitely not for the faint of heart on tuning. You need to be dedicated, I believe, for sure. Need to know which smart coils to buy for the FTR for the C7Z. So I used it IGN1As. That's just been a tried and true coil. I think AMP EFI makes them. But that's what I go with. Yeah, it's probably from that weather because it was like, what, 90 degrees when we got there, 95?
Yeah, it was 60.
And then it was 60. Yeah, it got all of us. My throat's still hurting too. How many revisions does it take to complete a tune? Man, I've done as little as like 6 or 7 and as many as like 50, 60. It all depends on the car, depends on the customer, depends on what they want to do, what we're trying to do. If they're a customer that wants to try different things, if they're having issues with the car, we've kind of got to work around issues or find things. Every car is going to be a little different. The biggest thing to realize is, are you making progress or are you not? If you're not, be communicative with your tuner. If I'm the tuner, be communicative with me. Hey, this seems like it's taking a little while. Let's book off some time just for me. If you ask me for that, I'll do that. I had a customer that needed to get on a dyno, needed to get his car kind of set up and was kind of in a time crunch. Not really, but kind of in a time crunch. And we worked till, I think, 2 a.m. last night getting his car dialed in. He wanted to make 1,000. We made like 1,046. He was happy. I passed out. So you just got to be communicative and, you got to, whoever you went with, you've got to kind of trust the process, really. The amount of revisions that you get a tune done in should never be an indicator unless it's 2 or 3. If anybody's finishing a tune in 2 or 3, or their big brag is I can knock that car out and have it perfect in 3 files. Anybody that's saying that doesn't give a shit about you or your files. I could give you a base file that if I didn't say anything, you'd be, oh, this is perfect. This is better than it was, blah, blah. And you'd be happy. But I will never be happy with that. So I'd say minimum 10 files. Damn, Wendy, did you get a ticket and pepper spray? V3 shirts, hoodies soon, Wendy?
Yeah, coming back.
Wow.
I said, when I get,
Oh, that's Jerry.
Sit.
When are we going to get your car back going? I mean, while you're out there busting dyno screens and shit. Thank you, Wayne, for the donation. And, we're always down for track support, mostly for Lori, but, it's fun for you too.
Did you tell Tim thank you?
I'm not there yet.
Tim is above me.
Where? Did I miss you, Tim? No, it's not.
Mine is what? Look at my comments, actually.
Dang it.
Anyways, thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim, for the donation. I appreciate it. I mean, all of you guys for letting us kind of be part of the whole deal, right? What? I'm trying. Let me stay in order. You're gonna mess me up. I try to do this in order because Wendy gets me lost, and now I'm lost. I don't even know where I'm at now. Thanks a lot, Wendy. All right. I think I'm back. I don't remember.
And then the shirt.
All right, smart coils, shirts, pepper spray, Wayne. Boom. What do you mean? I was all over the place. I tried to say hello to everybody. And I even made a post that said to hit us up if you wanted to hang out. Did you hit us up?
It probably couldn't. The service was so bad.
Yeah, the service was pretty bad. But brought to you by Starlink, because we had Starlink and we had service most of the time as long as we were around the truck. So if you're at the track, make sure to bring Starlink. We had issues with one of our Hellcat guys launching and spinning also. We left on 3 degrees and ramped it up and went spinning to a power wheelie. Hellcat, that's your problem. He was probably trying to drift it. Yes, Wayne, it is always your fault. 100% always your fault. But I will say I appreciate the positive outlook you've had lately, even in the face of blown fuses. And I still want my coils back. Speaking of plugs, checking mine Friday before. Jesus, Wendy. Checking my Friday before race Saturday. What do they need to be gapped to? Make sure I still remember. You think Alive is where we should discuss this? You can always text me. Anyways, Taylor, I would gap your plugs to about 22 to 24, unless you're going to be a man and put the nitrous on it and drop an 18. How's the learning curve for FTR? It's rough. I'll give it that. And it's mostly just because the lack of knowing what it is capable of, and knowing what features I need to do with certain things. So could you just get that system, plug and play it on the car and it work out the box? 90%. Should you probably have a little better guidance on it? I think so. But that's why Chris is going to be making videos, and we made a video as well, but I don't think Wendy's ever posted it. The FTR with Wayne tuning it.
I have it on here to do.
She's got a long to-do list.
I know.
But anyways, I think the FTR is going to be more intuitive. They're working on some revisions. Again, we're learning things as we go. It is a pretty complex setup, but the learning curve for tuning it, I will say that the support that Delgado has provided is unmatched. He's been phenomenal. He's always been there. He logs right in, fixes it. However, I do think that once I learn it as well, I think that'll help, because once more people start running the system, people that really want to go fast and really want their cars to live and make big power and race anywhere, they're all going to go to the system at some point. Delgado won't be able to stand behind that, I don't think. So hopefully I'll be able to help with that workload as well as some other tuners. But right now the curve is pretty steep, but I don't think it's unable to be done because his support is there. Hope that answered that one pretty well. I always still lean towards the Reflex cost, as well as being able to implement CAN to it and have boost whenever you want, as well as port control, meth control, right? So that's where I think that that's where the Reflex shines right now, is the ability for all of the external controls. I believe the Atlas is coming out with all of that, but I still feel that the Atlas is in its infancy stages, and it's kind of, there's going to be bugs to work out, which like the boost controller, I think it's just a bug that needs to be worked out. Things have to be tested back and forth. So kind of working through that. I know there's a couple Atlas cars out there. To date, I don't know if there's any that are going as fast as we have. I'm sure there are. But if not, good job, Max. But I think it's coming. But for sure, the Reflex has been around for decades on BMWs and things like that. So I feel like they at least had a leg up there. All right. Okay. I'm not on McDonald's Wi-Fi. McDonald's Wi-Fi is better than the Wi-Fi here. I'm on my phone Wi-Fi. Can you make a video on how to wire up the 2 IPSI boost control? They have a video or a write-up on it on their website. Outside of that, depending on how you do it, the boost control, literally you buy their Mac valve and it plugs into the controller. So there's really nothing to wire up other than plug and play. Max said it was 18 months. But 18 months well spent, right? Because, now it's doing great. Boom, see? Thank you, Tim, for the donation. It's there. I finally got to it. Wendy was just ahead of the game. Thanks again for my stock bottom and Camaro SS running in the 10s at LS Fest. Gary, you need to send me some videos. That's what I want to see. And then I think Gary's going to get with Tim, and he's got some big things coming as well. So shoot me some videos over, Gary. I'll just add it to Wendy's list. All right. Thank you, Wayne. See, now I'm to Wayne's. See, I'm working my way through this list. Appreciate it, Wayne. All right. Well, if you want a car that'll hit that 2.2 limit, you can jump in the blue car before you leave Houston anytime. If I have time, I will definitely try that. Me and my dad had a great time at LS Fest. It was good to meet you. The car ran amazing. Do you have any updates on the Reflex Pro? Good question. The Reflex Pro, I've been told, is coming. I don't have anything on it. I don't have a date. I believe there's a box or two that exists, but to this date, I haven't seen, I haven't seen anything yet. What? I don't know who that is. All right. Is the shitty tune discount still available if you're tuned by a certain tuner? The Dunbar special, no. Wendy said she'll do it.
Custom invoice.
All right. Wendy said she'll send you a custom invoice because she feels bad for you. So the main difference between, what is the main difference between going from FTR versus full C7 Motec kit? So the difference is, let's go cost first. That's what everybody wants to know, right? So the cost for the FTR is around $7,500. The cost for the full Motec is, I think around 12,000. So the FTR is a piggyback style system. It runs everything on the car outside of the throttle body, which it could, it just doesn't, outside of the throttle body and the direct injection, which we just set that up with the factory computer, let it handle all of that. And then the FTR handles everything outside of that. It comes with the M130 box, so still M1 architecture. The $12,000 one, which is the full system, is a full ECU replacement. So you take your ECU out, this ECU goes in, it controls everything direct, the whole deal, the dash. I mean, everything is controlled by the Motec. Probably the better option comes with the M182, so M1 architecture, but the much more advanced box. But then the learning curve on that is going to be significantly more steep, and I'm not there yet. So that's really the difference. I think the FTR is more than enough for most of what we're trying to do. If anything, you could do the FTR with the M150 box, which comes with a little more input-output, so a little bit more flexibility. But going to the full Motec, I guess, Delgado I can ask him and see what his thoughts are on that and what the benefit would be. But currently, I think the FTR is more than enough for what we need. We meaning people that do a lot of street racing, a lot of street driving, daily drivability stuff, but also want to go to the track and go really fast and power wheelie in first gear. That's really all I can think about now. How much power do you think an NA Chevy SS will gain out of a RCR low thumper cam, Frankenstein heads? I'm not familiar with his thumper cam at all, so I would assume that if you're doing a cam on an NA LS3, that you would definitely want a converter because you would move the power band up. You definitely want the converter to go up. So I would definitely do a torque converter. Motec really depends on whose firmware you're on. Chris and JR are really the only two to use. Yeah. I guess, like I said, I have a connection with Chris just because I've known him for so long. John Reed Racing does, obviously, underground racing cars and all these other cars. Very smart guy, but I just don't know him that way. So, Ulysses, thank you, man. I don't drink coffee, but Wendy will steal it. Appreciate it, Spencer.
Some energy drinks.
Huh?
We'll get some energy drinks with it.
Yeah. All right. Future power goals: performance supercar twin turbo kit or 2650, and would twins work well with the BTR stage 1 or need a different cam? Also, is it truly plug and play turbo kit or needs fabrication? So the performance supercar twin turbo kit, it's a real simple setup, but it is, he'll build it however you want. So he's built it for customers that want to use a factory intake, like a Pro Charger intake or something. He's also built one for a customer that has the TIC intercooler with the high ram. So I believe he does every kit a little different, but they are, you take his kit and you put it on the car. It really depends on what your goals are, right? We had a BTR Stage 2 turbo kit or supercharged cam in the blue car that we made like 1400 with. The BTR Stage 1 cam would be fine. It would have enough exhaust, probably not enough intake for that. you would definitely want a different cam at some point. But I mean, it really depends on what your power goals are. With turbos, it just seems like the bigger the cam, the more it's going to just move the power band of the turbos. They seem to make almost the same power between different camshafts from all the testing I've seen, at least. 2650 is great. 2650 is easy. It's less stuff, but again, it just depends on what kind of racing you're doing, what kind of driving you're doing. If I didn't really have some unfinished things I want to do with my car, I would have went twin turbo with that kit a long time ago. When you plan on coming back to Michigan, got more dyno screens to break. Man, as soon as you're ready, but it's got to be before that snow. Actually, I think I was talking with Ed, and we may be.
Story. Tell me you did.
What?
How you walked in and told me about this.
What? Oh, I may have signed us up for something that I don't know that we can say everything about it yet. But basically, we will be in Detroit before SEMA. And we may or may not be riding small motorcycles from Detroit all the way to Vegas. And I knew Wendy was on board, so I signed her up too, because I'm not suffering alone. But if I fly in early enough, we can set that up for sure. Is he going to let us use his dyno again? I don't know. Yeah.
That's cool.
Hey, Justin, so pumped for you to get my car tuned with the new blower, trying to make Florida 2K with the boys and want to go fast. We're going to do that. I was working on a file before, but we were like last minute getting here. So I'll shoot you one after this for sure. I'm trying to be supportive in the live. Figured I'd be active. I appreciate it, Taylor. You're a sweetheart. Still trying to get the car back together. As soon as I get the block back from the machine shop, ready to get this thing finished and finish the tuning. I'm ready for you. I know you kind of dealt with a little bit of issues, but it'd be worth it. We need a dyno, David. Yeah, we need a video from V3 with the V3 Pro Speed. It's there. It's just, she's got like 50 other videos to make, so we'll see. I don't know who that is. You should look into that, Max. I wonder if who else is going fast with the Atlas and how fast are they going? Might be something to try. Minor setback on the V. Front cover had a leak. Should be ready. Alky and Methan this weekend. There we go. I got to see you soon. Hit me up. Let's see. Late but here, Holmes. Windy Coffee Money. Question about locking torque converter. Do you use RPM speed, load, TPS? We're playing with locking it in second before third. I typically... It depends because you're a turbo car. So you really don't want to lock it too fast, right? Because you need that acceleration. You need to be able to use that converter to kind of get that energy up and get the turbine spinning. But then once the turbine's online, you want to get it locked up as fast as you can. Honestly, I'd probably on your car leave it unlocked in second and lock it in third and on. But you kind of got to play with it, man. But definitely make sure that you don't lock it too early, because if you lock it too early, you're not going to allow time for the turbo to light off. That was something I learned the hard way. Glad to see I finally have an unlocked TCM. I knew you were going to be here to say that. Sold the LT4 blower, unfortunately, but thoughts on LS9 converted to wet sump in my 5th gen? Is it still a stock motor? Because that's kind of important. But yeah, we did make a stop at GPI on the way home with Ryan Stevens and pulled the ECU or the TCM out of the Escalade, and they went ahead and unlocked it for us. So if you need TCMs unlocked and you're not, able to get it to HP tuners, GPI can help you out. It's on their website. Go ahead and get that done. So that way I can finish that 3-to-1 downshift crap that these Escalades do, because it's horrendous. And it's way worse when you have a trailer. Have you looked at Evans Performance Academy Motec training yet? Heard you mention him before. Yes, I've already signed up for it and I've gone through it. I've also went to, was it HP Academy? I think it's HP Academy. I have their Motec stuff. I'm trying as much as I can. The biggest thing, like I said, is every Motec has custom firmware. So you've also got to know how they word things in their firmware and what they label things as, and then what features do what and why you would need those features. Because it's so much different than the realm of OEM that it's for sure a steep learning curve. But I will put the time in, as I do. and make sure that I learn this as best I can for the future for other people. Also working on getting one on my car, so we'll see. Is one of the 50 videos she's working on the Rick Crawford interview?
There is like 50 videos.
Yes, there is.
It's my number 2.
There is, and BMS. Okay, I see she put that.
BMS and then Rick.
Do you have any twin turbo V3s that you've worked on? Interested in seeing if you prefer that versus a 2650. So the only downside to a turbo V3 would be getting the weight off the line, because V3s are very heavy. And from our experience with turbos and V2s, it's very hard to get those two things to work together. I'm not saying it can't be done, and it absolutely will be done. The only twin turbo V3 that I know of was done by Performance Supercar, owned by Jesus of Houston Street Monsters. But I don't know where that car went. I think it went to Duran, and I haven't seen it since. But I'd love to do twin turbos on one. I think at some point that's the route Wayne is planning on going. But the 2650 is just an easier route at this point. Working with Mike and the Reflex, and here soon we will have the clutch pressure control through the Reflex. Yeah, he did tell me about that. I don't think we're supposed to be talking about that, but yes, there's a lot of cool stuff with the Reflex Pro coming, but unfortunately, without a date, it's really not something we can really talk about. What's your thought on the Rife fast response IAT sensor over the GM factory sensor? Is it better for tuning to get accurate and fast data? 100%. Because something that people don't realize, and that's also part of the beauty of the Motec, is all of the sensors are super fast reading, super fast reacting, and then you can scale everything to adjust based on everything. I don't know the best way to word that. You can basically make sure that everything knows what's going on and can react to it fast and safe. But yes, if you do put the Rife fast response sensor in your car, the faster that temp heats up, the more it atomizes the fuel and the leaner the car will go. So I have things in there to kind of counteract that. But if you put the sensor, that would definitely help us get ahead of the issue, right? Get ahead of the curve. What is the best smallest cam for NA that you recommend? Man, for NA, it's really all about compression and cam. You don't really want a small cam. You don't really want a stock converter. If you're going to do stock converter, you would keep the factory cam, because even the factory cam works better with a converter. So I don't really know. The biggest thing you would want to worry about is not the cam, it would be the compression. Any thoughts on Fuel Tech's new 1700 injectors? Have EV6 plug, but not sure about injector data for full plug and play. I am very skeptical of anybody's injectors that are above a 1600 outside of FID and ID. Those are the only ones that I've had really good repeatable data from a 1700 plus. I haven't tried them, but I would have to assume that it's probably going to need a little bit of work, but maybe not. You're right. I see the grams per second drop once it locks up in second. 0 to 60 mile per hour draggy G meter is great. Goes from 1.5 G down to 0.8 when the TCC locks in second. So if you're dropping G's like that when you lock the converter, think of it like I don't know if you ever mess with Hondas, but if you mess with Hondas and you ever mess with VTEC, right? When you turn VTEC on, if the car slows down or you feel the VTEC come on, then you put it on too early, right? So if you think of the converter like VTEC, right? If you lock that converter and it pulls the car down, then you put it in way too early. It needs to come in later. And if you put it in later and it's not really benefiting you, then chances are your converter is already coupling pretty well, and the converter lock is just kind of going to help you on, really it's just going to kind of help you get more of that power to the ground. The other thing to consider is shift extension. So if you can run it and the converter if the converter couples efficiently enough that it doesn't really have a lot of slip, right? So up top, your converter's coupling and your TCC slip, while not being locked, will go down to like 100 or like 50 naturally. Remember that your shift extension, instead of dropping 600 RPM, unlocked may only drop 300 RPM. So that may keep the turbine speed up. So that's something to heavily consider as well. Locking the converter for a blower car for sure helps, because we make all that power early. But when it comes to turbo stuff, it's not always 100% the way to go. What mods does it take to run low sixes 60 to 130 in a C7 Z06? I think I've got one that has bolt-ons that runs that. Look up Parker Manley. I don't think Parker has really anything in his car, and he's running that or faster. So it doesn't really take much. A good tune, a little bit of good fuel like E40, and you can get there pretty easily. What wideband did you recommend to wire in the Reflex again? The easiest one, I think, for the Reflex would be like the AEM 30-0300 because it's natively a 5-volt out. Then you can literally just stick it up behind the dash, or you can do like an Innovate LC2. But I haven't had the best luck with the Innovate. I've had very good luck with the AEM. Funny enough, I know a lot of people like the Ballinger stuff, and I've never had an issue with the Ballinger stuff. But if you look, anybody that does tuning that may be in here watching, if you look at the AFR CAN V3, right? So that's the new Ballinger badass $600 wideband, right? Log the AFR V3 CAN, and then log an AEM 30-0334, which is AEM's CAN. And for all those people that hate on AEM, watch the refresh rate between the two. And then come back to our next live and let me know where you threw your wideband away at. Because the AEM is like 10 times faster. Still in reassembly stage, if the Rife Fast Response IAT sensor is recommended for 650 wheel, I mean, it's a cheap upgrade that is worth it really for any platform. Anything that's going to see boost that potentially makes heat, because by the time you see 200 degrees on a typical like GM intake air temp sensor, by the time you see 200, it's about 300. And if you don't know to predict for that, and you don't have fueling set to predict for that, you run into some issues. You run into some melty stuff. All right. Hey Justin, what cooldown mods are you running in your C7ZR1s? Any experience with the inner chiller kit that plumbs into your car's AC system? So the good and the bad on inner chillers. Inner chillers are not a bad thing, but if you're in a place that's very humid, keep in mind that inner chillers don't work that great with humidity. So they typically don't work as well. If you're in somewhere like Vegas or somewhere that's in pretty low relative humidity, the inner chillers are super, super efficient. The other thing they make like a stage 2 kit. I know Force Induction's inner chiller, I think Kirk, he makes one that has a secondary evaporator. Makes a big difference. We've actually gotten water so cold that we had to put coolant in it because it was freezing the water itself. Outside of that, if you're in a muggy environment, ice tank is just the best way. It's simple. It puts the weight in the back of the car. It's less things to fail, and I don't like my AC in my car to be any less efficient than it has to be. And I've never seen an inner chiller that the AC did not suffer with. So that's something I would definitely consider. One thing I would say is for the ZR1, where you have the 2 intercoolers in the front, make sure you get a rock guard, because I've seen several of those get holes in them. Found a stock bottom end LS9 with LME ported head studs for a good price, but I'd run an LSA 2650 on it and fit my 5th gen. So keep in mind the LS9 stock bottom end has a different crank sensor, is wet sump or dry sump. So you'd have to like trim the snout. I don't know if I would really want to do that. But just notate the differences in the LS9 bottom end. The LS9 bottom end is badass, but it is not going to be just a drop in for that. But the stock bottom end LS9, I've made 1200 pretty easily. But you know, they do get into like a head lifting problem at a little above that. That's what this is about, right? This is about getting the information out there and not gatekeeping things. So if you guys have any more questions, I'll give it a little more time. Again, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, make sure to come over to Tuned In with JWT on Facebook or on YouTube. Boy, it's been a long day. Make sure to come over, like, share, subscribe, spread the words, spread the podcast, spread the videos to other people. For other people that have questions, if they have questions and they're scared to ask, or if you're a tuner and you're not really sure, remember we have a membership. The membership gets you, for the gold membership, which is the $49.99. If you're a tuner and you have some issues, you can send us a file, as long as you're part of the gold membership. I'll go through it, find your little issue, send it back, help you out. A lot of people have taken advantage of that. And that's something I wish that I had available back when I was learning. But then we also have the regular membership, the silver and the bronze to, help us with support. You guys are going to get like first videos, some badges, things like that. It just really helps the channel. It helps us travel and meet more people and bring more podcast stuff to you guys. So yeah, and I'm working on a lot more technical R&D testing, tuning based, all those videos, anything that's like knowledge that I wouldn't just naturally put out for anybody, that will be in our membership only area. So if you're not a member, sign up for that and you'll have access to those videos as well. Yeah, typically you would have to swap out the crank, but I'm not going to suggest it, but I've seen people just cut the snout. But if you contact GPI, I think Prey, a lot of those guys make cheater cams, so you can hit them up for that. Yeah, I've seen the adapter too, so that's another thing, because I think cutting it was kind of ghetto, but it did work. I've tuned in almost every live since the start, and I learn at least one thing every time. Thank you sincerely for what you do. Thank you for following us and kind of helping us keep going with this, because it takes a lot, but I'm really enjoying it. And like I said, every time we go to an event, we meet more people that have been following, tuners that have reached out, and I was able to help them. And in return, some of them have been able to help me. The community is definitely getting a lot more tight knit, and it's helping a lot more people. And as you'll notice as we go, the cars are going to get faster. They're going to run better. Everybody's going to have a better experience. So overall, it's not only about the channel and kind of giving out the info. It's more about getting everybody to understand that if we work together, everybody's going to benefit. Everybody wins. I used to convert LS3 dry sump into G8 wet sump. Oh, okay. From like a Grand Sport. Holly does make a kit to convert dry sump to wet sump, LS7, but a keyway would need to be cut into LS9. We did that with a grinder. Again, not suggesting it, but it did work. Got a 416 that will reach out to you for some tuning, hopefully soon. No problem. I'm always around. Also, my 245 didn't come in yet, so I'm going to run the 23 first and then compare temps and 6130s for science. Look, we're always down for science. I'm always down for trying different things and seeing where we can get little advantages from. Drilling the thermostat doesn't put the car in fail-safe because it doesn't reach operating temp. If you drill the thermostat, but you still run like a 187, which that's what I run in my car, the 187 still gets to the 187. The drilling part, you're only putting 3, maybe 4 small holes. And that's really just making sure that you don't get an air pocket while providing a little bit of trickle flow. If you go in there and hog some holes out, then you might as well not even have the thermostat. But we're talking 16th to an 1/8 inch at the most, 3 holes, 4 holes. Lori's here, Hemlock in the house. So appreciate you out there going to the semifinals, even though Wendy said she was making sandwiches.
Stand by it too.
That's why she's sick. Rife IAT sensor ordered. Is there anything in tune to be done when it's installed, or just plug in and hook? No, you're gonna have to send me the card. Once you get the card from Rife, it'll have the breakpoints of the resistance versus the temperature. So once you send that to me, I'll go through the tune and I'll alter that. So we definitely want the proper readings. Gotta find some way to get this heavy fifth gen out of its own way. That LS9 blower has been great, but I'm getting the itch for more. Nitrous. That's the way to go. Everybody's so scared of nitrous still these days. I don't understand it. I'll have you know, I ate those boiled peanuts for almost the whole ride home.
Mm-hmm.
I was dying though. My lips were on fire.
He said they're the best he's ever had.
They were so good. And for people that don't know what boiled peanuts are, because I didn't realize that that's like mostly a Louisiana thing. They're literally what the word is. They're boiled peanuts. They're phenomenal though. If you've never tried them, make sure you get some.
Lots of us season them, but they're good enough.
Yeah, you got to have seasoning, and it's got to be done right. But you don't just boil regular peanuts. I tried that once. You can't boil roasted peanuts. All right, give it another few minutes, and then we got to go unload cars, and at some point get some sleep. But I got a lot of tuning to do too.
We have cake too.
Oh, we have cake for Austin's birthday. So again, happy birthday, Austin. We've got to go do the birthday thing. I mean, nitrous would be cool, but only on my currently. Oh, Jesus. No, I didn't suggest that on the stock long block. Is it still alive though? Because I remember, telling you that was a bomb. What do you mean you're uninformed about nitrous and blowers? Nitrous and blowers are like peanut butter and jelly, right? What's another good combo?
Cocaine and waffles.
Cocaine and waffles. Nitrous, that's a good one. Nitrous and blowers are like cocaine and waffles. It goes together great. A waffle's fantastic, and a waffle does the job, but the cocaine definitely gets it doing the job faster. Nitrous is just an addition. It just cools the blower and makes the party happen a lot faster. So.
What was that on?
Huh?
Step brothers or something?
I don't know. Yeah. We need to make a shirt. A shirt. Nitrous and blowers are like cocaine and waffles. That's good. That's a good point. Shane, yeah, only one for you, but like 30 other people. So we've got a long night. And then I'm going to pass out. Appreciate the donation. Do you think you can tune LS3C6 with stock injectors and stock fuel pump along with DSX E85 kit, also with minimal gain, worth it? Yeah, so the stock injectors are big enough, and the stock fuel system is big enough for E85, and the gain is typically on like good air, I've gained 40 to 50, but typically 30 to 40, realistically, wheel horsepower. It wasn't you guys, it was Wendy. I was in my car. I didn't get pulled over.
Because you lost.
I didn't lose.
You didn't win.
Is it winning by getting a ticket?
If he told me I went faster, yes. It's documented.
Anyways, Wendy got a ticket, not me. She got several tickets, so win that.
I am, but you're running.
Oh yeah, never mind. I got to pay it. Still running good up here in Fargo on 14 PSI. Crazy. Been tearing up G-force axles and Toyota Hearts as well. You're a madman. But, if it's alive, it's alive. What are you doing?
Looking up our address.
All
I
right.
don't know how to spell it.
All right. So anyways, we're going to wrap it up. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, we'll do this again. I'll get some more topics brought up. But if you guys have any questions along with, just make sure that you can book a consultation or book your tuning, however, through justinwhitetuned.setmore.com. If you have any questions or you need to email me, it's justinwhitetuned@gmail.com. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. I'm going to go unload my cars, sing happy birthday, do some tuning, and pass out. Appreciate all the guys and girls that have come in here, and everybody have a good night.